I want to talk for a minute about how to create this lead-in and what to do in this lead-in, which starts this cinematic trailer. You know, what are we going to do to introduce this section and start to introduce the cinematic trailer? I find that there are several ways that you can go about doing the lead-in. One way of doing it is to take a piece of speech from either the maid of honor, the bride, the maid of honor, the best man, the parents, anybody who gave a speech. It's good to put it to start the speech in the beginning because it helps to lead the person who's watching it into what the story is going to be about, what you're going to be watching. So finding a nice piece of speech that they start talking about is a good way to lead in. I'll show you an example of how we've led that way in the past, and this will help you to understand what these lead-ins look like. Let's click down here and find an example of where we've done a lead-in here. Probably way back here is a good spot. Good. Right in here. So this is an example of how we led into the story with a bridesmaid speech.
Megan and I have been friends for the last 18 years. We both became instant friends at an 8th grade dance when we realized that we had all of the same things in common. We both loved boys. Megan loved clothes, and I loved Megan's clothes.
So you notice what we did there. We took about somewhere between 17 and 18 seconds of the speech that helped to start the story off. We led in, let it go at its length.
We both loved boys. Megan loved clothes, and I loved Megan's clothes.
And just at the end of it, we allowed the music to come in. So this is a good example of how we would have set this one up. As you can see, you could imagine hearing the speech and then bringing it in right at the end and still have them speaking over the top of this small intro, if you will. Almost if you can imagine what this would look like if we kept this way.
Megan and I have been friends for the last 18 years. We both became instant friends at an 8th grade dance when we realized that we had all of the same things in common. We both loved boys. Megan loved clothes, and I loved Megan's clothes.
So you can see how I could have easily just put that exact same speech right over the top of what we have here, and that would have worked just fine. So this is an example of leading in with the speech. I'll show you another example of leading in with the speech. This is another one we did recently where we lead in.
When I first started to prepare what I was going to say for my maid of honor speech, I couldn't help but think, my sissy is getting married in a half hour.
So again, perfect. 15 seconds, 20 seconds long. It lets you in, and you're good to go. We're going to go one more time and take a look at what this would look like if you decided to lead in with a speech. Well, maybe we won't. Maybe we leave it as it is. Show you the different examples somewhere later. Let me see if I've got another one. Oh, right here.
So, I remember the first time I met Ben, and Megan said, you know, bring this guy over, he's going to pick me up, and you know, I happened to look out the window, and he's got his bumper sticker. Do you remember the bumper sticker? Did it say, "I love Nigerian dwarf goats"?
So again, another speech lead-in, and that all works well. And so it's a fairly easy way to start the video out and start it in a way that's going to be enticing to look at. Now, to me, there's also other ways to lead in. So you could also lead in with the vows. You could lead in with just hearing their vows. If your speeches aren't that great, or if you don't want to lead in with a speech, you want to do something different. And I recommend that you do. Don't always lead in with the same thing, because leading in with just one thing is really not going to make your edits dynamic and look good. But let's just say you wanted to lead in with the speech instead. Let me see if I can't find a good example of a speech lead-in right in here. Good. So this is an example of where we led in with the vows instead of a speech, which was a different way of doing things and worked just as well.
As we go through our very long lives together, I promise to be your faithful partner in whatever we go through. I promise to love you unconditionally, even when you think you're an early 90s rapper. I promise to know the difference between when you're really angry and when you're angry just because you're hungry. I promise to be there holding your hand, telling you I love you. And most of all, I promise to be someone who you're proud to call her husband.
Again, 34 seconds of introduction. The song comes in the middle of a lead-in. Lead-in is about the vows. Now, I wouldn't do this lead-in if the vows were basic, but they were sweet and they were cute and they were about each other. So that lead-in worked really nicely. Another way to lead in that we haven't done that often is to lead in with an action, lead in with something that happens on the day. I don't even know that I have very good examples of it, but if you look at some of the edits that you'll find online, even at the Paper Cranes website, you'll actually notice that they'll lead in with like just somebody playing, or a dog or something that happens. Let's see if I can come up with, this might be a good spot to look.
Now when we least expect.
So they're leading in with the vows there, but there's definitely some. This is where they led in with them dancing. So they had a great sequence of them dancing. Yeah, obviously they came in with great footage of the rings, but.
It's been a long time coming since I seen your face. I've been everywhere and back, trying to replace everything that I had till my feet went numb. Praying like a fool, it's been on the run.
Notice that 20 seconds led in. They used dancing, and that totally worked. It was great. And if you notice, when you look at any one of these edits, you're going to find that they all have a good lead in. This is led in with. So notice that they led in with a small piece of him seeing her for the first time. Just 3 clips. One here, one there, and one there. So that's how the lead-ins are created, and that's what creating good lead-ins will get you in for in terms of an edit. It draws your audience in. It keeps them interested. So try to create a unique and fun, interesting lead-in before you start the editing process. Once you get into the actual editing stuff, then you can it goes a little bit faster from there.